Today I'll be talking on human skeleton. Well, when we speak of the term skeleton, it simply means the framework. So skeleton, when we say, it is not necessary that it will mean only the bony framework. So when we talk of the skeleton of a house, or the skeleton of a building, or the skeleton of a vehicle, so it means simply the framework. So then when we talk of skeleton of a living organism, a living being, it means the framework of that particular living organism. Say as for example insects, they have also skeleton, but their skeleton is not the bone but the carapace. Likewise, when we say skeleton for human being or man, we may broadly divide skeleton into two. One, the skeleton or the bony parts or the bones lying inside our body, embedded inside the tissue or muscles, and that constitute what we call endoskeleton, skeleton inside the body. And on the other hand, human beings also has exoskeleton, skeleton outside the body, which are visible, which actually are not bones. Say as for example our nails, our teeth, they constitute exoskeleton, skeleton outside the body. But generally when we talk of skeleton, we refer to endoskeleton. Well, following the general pattern, human skeleton consists of altogether 206 bones. I will speak of endoskeleton as skeleton, no doubt. So the skeleton, broadly we can divide it into two parts. One is axial part and the other part is appendicular part. The axial part or axial skeleton constitute the bones of skull, then bones of thorax, that is the ribs, sternum, and vertebral column. So this axial part or axial section or axial part of the skeleton altogether has 80 bones. So out of 206, 80 are axial bones and remaining 126 bones constitute our appendicular bones. So appendicular bones are bones of our limbs, that is forelimbs, our arms and hands, that constitute forelimbs, and hind limbs, it constitute leg and foot. And when we say forelimb, it also has a part, specific part, which girdles with the thorax, and that is called pectoral girdle. And our hind limb, that means leg, it is again girdle with the abdomen by pelvic girdle, hip bone. Now let us see what are the main functions of skeleton, that means endoskeleton. So one of the most important function of endoskeleton is to support soft parts of our body. So without a framework, without a structure, the soft part cannot stand on its own. So it needs a support. So that is why it supports the soft part. And again, we can move, we can walk, we can extend our legs, we can extend our hands. That means the movement is made possible because of the bones, the skeleton. Then at the same time, it also protects delicate organs of our body. The heart, lungs, kidneys, they are protected by our ribs. Then again, at the same time, it helps in storing minerals, particularly calcium, then phosphorus, potassium and magnesium. So it is bone which stores such minerals which are basic nutrients of our body, which are very much essential for our body. And at the same time, bone plays a very important role, particularly in making new blood cells. So new blood cells are formed from the bone marrow. So that is why the structure, the endoskeleton, the bones are very necessary for our body. Then most of the bones are linked at movable joints to make system flexible. Our body is flexible because at certain points they are linked with through joints. Then again at the same time, it anchors points for muscle producing our body movement. Bones also anchors. Muscles are fastened in certain parts of the bone, certain points of the bone, which makes our body move. Now, we will come to the different parts of the axial and appendicular bones. Now, let us come to axial part first of all. Axial part is constituted by skull, vertebral column, ribs and sternum. All together 80 bones. So this is a skull. So this skull all together has 22 bones. So this, out of these 22 bones, only one is movable, or rather articulatory. It can articulate. So 21 bones are fused together and only one, that is mandible or lower jaw, it can move. Others are all fused together. This is frontal bone, forehead, the parietal bone, this is right parietal bone, this is left parietal bone, this is occipital bone, the back part of the occipital bone, where we have one foramen through which the brain connects with the spinal cord. Then this is mandible, this is zygomatic bone, this is maxilla, like that. There are altogether 22 bones. So out of these 22 bones, 8 bones are in the cranium part and other 14 bones are on the facial part. So this 14 bone includes the movable mandible also. So 14 in the frontal part or in the facial part and 8 in the cranium part constitute altogether 22 bones of the skull. Now let us come to the next axial bone, that is vertebral column. This is the vertebral column, or commonly what we call spine. So this vertebral column altogether has 33 bones. 33 bones constitute vertebral column. And out of these 33 bones, 7 are in the neck region. 7 vertebrae are in the neck region. And we call these vertebrae as cervical vertebra. And in the thoracic region, there are 12 vertebrae in the thoracic region. And below thoracic region, there is lumbar region. And lumbar region has 5 vertebrae. Then after that, we had sacrum. So sacrum, this is sacrum. This has altogether 9 bones fused together. So this has again 2 parts. One is sacral part having 5 bones fused together, and again coccyx, 4 bones fused together, fused with again sacral part and forming 9 bones together. So this sacral plus coccyx together constitute sacrum, and it has 9 fused bones. So 9 here and other 24 in other parts of the vertebral column constitute 33 bones of vertebral column. Then we have ribs. Ribs constitute altogether 24 bones. So it occurs in pairs and forms our rib cage. So in short, a rib cage has altogether 24 bones or 12 pairs of ribs. So out of these 12 pairs of ribs, 7 pairs are called true ribs because they are isolated from other ribs and it articulates with sternum. These true ribs are 7 in pair, starting from ribs 1 to 7 pair. First pair to 7 pair constitute true ribs. Then we have false ribs. False ribs are again those ribs which bifurcates and forms ribs, and they are 3 in pairs. So that means 6 ribs. Then we have last 2 pairs, and they are called floating pairs because they on one end it articulates with vertebral column, but on the other hand it is not at all articulated with sternum. It's completely floating. So these 2 pairs, that means 4 bones, constitute floating ribs. So altogether there are 24 ribs, and these 24 ribs forms our rib cage, which protects the delicate organs like heart, lungs of our body. Then we have another bone, sternum. This is sternum. This is the sternum. It is in front of our chest, and it is with this sternum that ribs articulate. Ribs are joined here at these articular surfaces. So 22 bones of skull, 33 bones of vertebral column, 24 bones or 24 ribs, and 1 sternum all together constitute 80 bones of axial part of our endoskeleton. Now let us come to appendicular part. As I have told you, when we say appendicular part or appendicular skeleton, we mean the bones of our limbs, the forelimbs and hind limbs. So when we say upper extremity, it includes shoulder girdle, or scientifically termed as pectoral girdle, and it has 2 bones on one side. So that means left pectoral girdle has 2 bones. Those 2 bones are, one is scapula. This is called scapula. This triangular shape bone, which is located on the back side of our shoulder, and along with it there is another clavicle, F-shaped bone, elongated bone. This is clavicle. So this clavicle and scapula together is called shoulder girdle or pectoral girdle. So there are two such pectoral girdle, one on the left, another on the right. So that means together there are 4 bones. Then after pectoral girdle, let's come down to the upper arm of our body. So this upper arm, this section of the bone is the bone of upper arm, and this is called humerus. So there are 2 humerus, one on the left arm, upper arm, another on the right upper arm. When we say arm, we mean the upper arm as well as lower arm. So we should clearly spell out upper arm and lower arm. Distal to humerus, we have 2 bones. 2 bones. These 2 bones constitute our forearm. So forearms has 2 bones. One is radius. This smaller, shorter one is radius. The shorter one is radius, and this one is ulna. So this radius ulna, or jointly known as radioulna, forms our bone of forearm. So 2 bones on one forearm. So for 2 forearm, we have 4 bones. Then we have bones of our hand. There are altogether 8 wrist bones. It forms the wrist, and these are called carpus. So we have 8 carpus bone on one hand. Then we have metacarpal. So we have 5 metacarpals. 5 metacarpals on one hand, another 5 metacarpals on another hand. Then we have phalanges then. So the thumb has only 2 phalanges. Other fingers have 3 phalanges. So altogether 14 phalanges. 14 phalanges, 5 metacarpal, then carpus, 8 carpus, all together has 27 bones in one hand. So we have 2 hands. So that means 27 into 2, it comes to 54. So 54 bones in 2 hands. Plus arms bones together, which constitute 10 bones. So 54 for hands and 10 for arms. We have 64 bones in our upper extremity. Now let us come down to lower limbs. When we say lower limb, it is constituted by 2 pelvic bones together with sacrum. But we have counted sacrum as axial bone. Now, therefore, for the lower limb, we have 1 pelvis on each side of the limb. So together 2 pelvis. Then we have 2 femur, 2 thigh. So we have 2 thigh bones, so 2 femur bones. Then just below femur, we have 1 kneecap, scientifically termed as patella. So we have 2 patella, 2 kneecaps. Then again, below this kneecap, we have 2 bones. One is tibia, another smaller one, fibula. So tibia and fibula constitute bones of lower leg. So below the lower leg, the most proximal part of our lower limb is foot. So this foot has altogether 26 bones. One foot has 26 bones. So, the heel bone, the calcaneum bone, then just below the tibia there is talus. Talus bone is just below the tibia. Then heel bone, calcaneum. Then we have other tarsal, 5 tarsal bones, so 7. Then we have 5 metatarsal and other 14 phalanges. All together constitute 26 bones. So, one foot has 26 bones. So, 2 feet means we have 52 bones. So, 52 bones with the bones of patella, pelvis, upper leg and lower leg constitute altogether 62 bones. So, 62 in hind limb, 64 in forelimbs, it constitutes altogether 126 bones. So, 126 bones frame our appendicular bone. So, 126 bones of appendicular part plus 80 bones of axial part together constitute the human skeleton comprising of 206 bones. Finally come to types of bone, general types of bone. There are different types of bone. One is long bone. So, this is an example of a long bone. Long bone means those bones having 2 extremities, or if we follow the scientific term, 2 epiphyses and 1 diaphysis. 2 epiphyses and 1 diaphysis. Then that means 2 ends and 1 shaft. So, those bones are called long bones. Now, let us come to short bones. So, short bones are spongy bones, usually boxy type or like a shape of a cube. Here these bones of this ankle, tarsal bones, these are cubic type, short. So, these type of bones are called short bones. Then we have another type of bone, that is sesamoid bone. So, these are usually have a shape resembling that of a sheet. So, sheet shaped bones are known as sesamoid bone. So, this patella, kneecap, you see, you can just see, it's just like a sheet. So, these sheet shaped bones, they are usually called sesamoid bone. Then we have flat bones. Flat bones are those bones having flat surfaces, usually flat, or maybe completely flat, or even there may be curvature but flat. This is slightly curved, but this is having a flat surface. So, such bones having a flat surface, even though the outline is little bit curved, then that is called flat bone. Now, let us come to irregular bones, another type of bone, that is irregular bones. All those bones which are not covered under what I have described, as for example this one. Can we describe it by saying any shape? It has no specific shape. This vertebra. Similarly, this vertebra, it has no specific shape. So such bones are called irregular bones. These are some of the fundamental concepts that we should try to understand while studying human skeleton.